California has not realized the mandate of Brown versus Board to address segregation and deep-seated educational inequity across our state. Today, more than 60 years later, schools across California are profoundly separate and unequal based on race and class. It's a national shame that the sabotage of human potential is readily apparent across our nation. These issues are being amplified, in fact, made worse by the privatization and private control movement. The California NAACP and other community-based activists have called upon education reforms to refocus on inequities rather than privatization and private control of education. They are seeking to move the discourse concretely from choice to equity. Today, the California NAACP stands with stakeholders from across the spectrum to call for greater accountability and transparency on behalf of students and families in the state of California. The NAACP is supporting and co-sponsoring SB756. It aligns with the moratorium call from 2016 that decries the lack of transparency and accountability that's readily apparent in privately managed school choice. AB1505 is a step forward because local democracy helps disenfranchised communities have a voice. In fact, data from the past decade show that the State Board of Education charters are twice as likely to close as locally authorized charters. AB 1506 is a step in the right direction because it does not close any schools, but at the same time, it will limit the haphazard proliferation of low-performing charter schools across our state. AB 1507 is a key bill because some communities are profiting from school choice by authorizing charters to operate outside of their own community. Privileged communities should not be able to drain education funds outside their jurisdiction. 60 years after Brown versus Board, education is very separate and very unequal. Despite decades of school choice policies and education privatization, wealthier students still have priority access to educational environments. Furthermore, it must be said that race baiting, inserted by opponents of these bills into the discussion with support from billionaires, is despicable. My mother once said, "Show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are." Speaking of race baiting, despite the fact that Donald Trump and Betsy DeVos are all in on charter schools and have promised to spend billions on them, there's hope for change. Hope remains in empowerment, in the ability to organize communities of educators and other public education stakeholders around the truth of education reform's failures, and our liberty to advocate for community-based education for students rather than private management and profit.